don't know about you, but I'm always looking for ways to display my mixed media art and pages from my art journal. And I came up with an idea that I absolutely love. And it's using something that I found at Dollarama. These are fall themed blackboard easels. And I am going to transform this into a double-sided display frame that I can rotate my mixed media or art journaling creations on. Here's a sneak peek of what it's going to look like. So my initial plan when I got this frame was to create right on the two surfaces, on top of here and on top of here. And to do that, I needed to knock this back, and I chose to put a coat of white gesso, and then I painted the frame black. And this is what I got. Now, because there's a lip here, if you wanted to stencil in here or to do something, that would be a little bit complicated and a little bit difficult to get in there, and that would be limiting. So I thought, okay, I'm going to cut a piece of paper the size of the opening, and this opening is approximately 5 7/8 by 7 1/4 tall. So I just cut the mixed media paper to that size. And I thought then I can just create on the flat surface and then use some double-sided tape or glue it down once I was all done, and I would have my double display. But my brain started working. And I thought, well, if I could put that in, why can't I swap it out? Because I noticed that it wasn't really falling out. And if I tacked it down in any way, it would stay put until I took it out. Then I was thinking, maybe I could create on a different surface. So I gave it some thought, and I looked in my stash, and I have these mixed media boards from the Crafter's Workshop. Now this one measures 12 by 12. And I thought, can I cut this to size? And the answer is yes. With a simple X-Acto knife, I was able to cut it to whatever size I wanted. So I know that Dollarama is only in Canada. So I went looking for other easels, and they have some on Amazon, and I will link to them. They are different sizes than what I'm showing you here, and there's some other differences in it, so you're just going to have to look it over. These ones, which were natural wood color to begin with, I've just given them a coat of gesso, came from Dollar Tree, and they are available online in an assorted pack, but they're called wooden writing boards. And this one measures 5 3/4 by 4 inches across, and the center space is 4 by 3. This I did pick up in the store, but I have not found them since. So check out the stores, your dollar stores, Walmart, Tuesday Morning, all these places that you typically get these kind of finds, and see if you can find them. You might have to tweak them. The measurements are going to be different, but you can definitely use the same or similar ideas that I'm going to share with you in this video. So in a day or two, my ideas and thoughts on how to transform this evolved. So what I'm going to show you now is the quickest, easiest way to transform these into that double-sided display frame for your rotational mixed media or art journal pages. This was really finicky to do. and I got paint where I didn't want it to be paint, and it was a little awkward to do, and it took a lot of time. And I don't know about you, but I like shortcuts. And I found some that I'm going to share with you. So here is the frame, unfinished, as it come from Dollarama. And I am going to put a coat of black gesso. This is from the Crafter's Workshop. And I'm choosing gesso because it has a matte finish and it's very opaque, and it allows me to cover this all with just one coat. And that's a win. Now, when I'm doing this, if I want to do this for gifts or for craft fair sales, I need this to be quick and easy. And I am simply covering all surfaces, the ridge, the top of the frame, the flat part, all black. And I'm choosing black because since this is going to be a rotational display, I want a color that is going to go with everything that I'm going to be doing. So I'm just taking, now sometimes with that gesso I have to thin it just a smidge, but I'm just getting a good coat of the black gesso on both sides of this easel. Now I've left this in real time, so you can see how quick and easy it is. No fuss, no muss, unlike what I did when I was putting white gesso on the flat part and then painting the frame. That required a lot more work. Now the sides, this is just MDF. So the sides are unfinished and it soaks in a lot of paint and gesso. Now you can paint this brown, any shade of brown that you want, or any color that you want, really. I did try to stain it with some stain, but because of this finished MDF, this didn't look really good. So I ended up making the decision that the black was the best. So I'm painting all surfaces of it. The display parts, as well as the sides. So if I was doing this for gifts, and I think I bought 5 of these all told, what I would do is just do a paint session, a gesso session, where I go and I paint all 5 of them, or however many I have, in one session. That means that I have one cleanup, not 5 separate ones, and they're all ready for the next step. And doing things in that kind of assembly line fashion really saves time. Now on the sides, because it's unfinished MDF and it soaks in, I did come back a little bit and dab a little bit extra paint, but I didn't have to do that on any of the other wood surfaces. One coat did it all. So even though this is painted black, I'm giving it a coat of the black gesso as well. You could skip that if you wanted, but I just thought we'll just make everything the same. You can use black acrylic paint for this, but I do find that using black gesso covers so much quicker. So I highly recommend that you buy some black gesso. And I'll put a link to that, the frames, and anything else that I do in this project in my Amazon links below. And if you are from some other country other than the US, there are 5 countries listed there. That will automatically, if you click on my links, the US links, it'll take you to your store, and you can still shop through my affiliate links. And there you can see I'm just touching up a little bit on the raw MDF sides. And as you can see, I just painted that gesso right on top of the hinges, and it adheres really well. So the inside is still that MDF color, and you could leave it as it is, but you know, I did get a little bit of paint over it, bit of a perfectionist, and if I'm making this for a craft fair or as a gift, I want to be able to have it looking very professional. And I decided, you know, I think this will work. I'm going to put the gesso on a makeup sponge, and I just brush the makeup sponge down on this part. It was so easy. I didn't get any on that middle part, which I didn't paint. And you really can't see when it's standing. But some of these parts you can. I'm going to take care of that jute string as well. So these signs at Dollarama in Canada cost about I think it was $4.50 each, which, you know, I prefer paying $1.25 at Dollarama or Dollar Tree, but considering that this is a double frame, that's only $2.50 a frame, and it's rotational, which means I can swap it out throughout the year. I only need one of these, not a different frame for every piece of art that I'm going to display in it. So I still think it's a great deal. I like the idea of being able to gift somebody one of these, and then as I create more art and seasonal art, they can just pop out the art that was in there and put in the next one. It's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So I'm painting the jute. I just watered down the gesso and I just painted it. And that worked really fine. I guess you could take that off, get a black cord and restaple it in. But why look for more work when you don't have to? This worked perfectly fine. The wood color that it was, I thought I could leave it, but it was too light to match my decor. If that matched your decor, you can absolutely just leave it plain and just gesso the flat surface that you're going to put the art in. So now my display is done. So let's work on the substrates. Now I cut a paper using mixed media paper the size of the opening. And I decided to use it as a template for putting on the mixed media board from the Crafter's Workshop. So once I have the length, I'm using this box cutter and holding down my metal ruler and just cutting through the mixed media board from the Crafter's Workshop. Now, I was a little tentative when I started, but I found that you could put a lot of pressure on this and cut it fairly quickly with very few passes, less than what you're seeing me doing here. And it cuts very easily. After all, the mixed media board is simply compressed paper, cardboard. So if you buy different frames you are going and it has that lip, you will want to measure it up and get it the size that fits your easel / frame. And underneath this I have my cutting mat. But again, what I would do, since I want to have more of these and I want to be able to make different art that will swap out, I would have a cutting session where I just keep cutting all the different boards. And then I would have a lot of these ready to go, ready to do art on for the different seasons or themes or whatever purpose I want. So now that that's cut, I'm putting the mixed media paper that's cut to size, my template, on here and getting the next cut ready. Now the thing that you need to know is these easels are not perfectly square or going to fit exact. So there's going to be some tweaking, but I've got a solution for that coming up. Here I've decided I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, less tentative, cutting it, and it only took me a few passes to cut it. So there's one piece, and then I am keeping the straight edge because I know that that's square. I'm going to cut on the cut side to get that second piece. So out of one 12 by 12 mixed media board, I got two roughly 6 by 7, those aren't the exact measurements, that fit this easel. And that is all the waste. That little piece is the only waste. Now these, because it's not perfectly square, neither is my cutting perfect, you're going to have to do some tweaking. Now here is I believe it's 12 by 4 leftover piece. There's 12 by 4 that I can use to make another sign that can sit on a ledge or on a plate rack. So nothing goes to waste. Now it's a little rough, so I grabbed my sanding block, and you can get these from Amazon in bulk. You can get them at the dollar store. I use these a lot to rough up surfaces. Here I am, I thought I was just getting rid of the torn paper, but it gave kind of a beveled edge to it that I really, really liked. But it does make quite a mess, so maybe if you can do that outside or, right into the garbage. So right now I'm basically getting rid of all the rough edges, but I'm going to continue to sand to make this fit in the frame. Remember I said it's not perfectly square, neither is my cutting perfect. So when I'm trying it, if it fits, great. You can flip it over, sometimes it fits better. Now this one doesn't fit, so I need to do a little bit more sanding, and you can use that same sanding block, just shave off just a little bit more until you get it to fit. And if you've got more than one frame, it might fit one of them better than others, and then on the back I would just label which frame it goes in. Now there's a little gaps there, and because we've painted it black, and I'll edge this in black, you won't see any of the, if it's a little bit off. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap here, but once everything's done, you don't see it. So here is one of the finished projects in the easel. Doesn't this set off the art just perfectly? It frames it. And then it's double-sided, so when that's sitting on a counter or shelf, you get two sides. When you're done with the art, you can swap out the theme, go with the different seasons. So you only need one frame for all your art. I love it. And we can see it from both sides. So if it's sitting on my island, I've got two views. Then you just take it out, put in the next theme. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, go get creative.